Hello everybody, once again it is I, Mewtwo Overkill here, and this is going to be the long-awaited update. I've kind of been putting this off since I've been waiting for quite a while to get some new cards for it, but this is going to be the long-awaited update on my Orichalcos challenge. Quite a few people have asked me about this. I have still been running the challenge kind of on the sly. I haven't done any major videos about it, but this is going to be the most recent deck update as of this video. I am doing this video completely impromptu, so don't surprise if so I'm sorry if I brain fart here and again. So let's go into the deck. I will say I'm a firm believer of Tour Guide goes in everything. It's a +1. Yes, there's Valor, but it's when it goes off, it goes off. And just Tour Bus. Because aside, I don't have Curry Bandit, which, but Tour Bus is probably the next best thing. Because when I'm going up against decks that run off the graveyard, I can shuffle one of their more important targets back into their deck. So yeah, so essentially the 4 Tour Guide cards. Now for the fun stuff, we've got Orichalcos Gygus here. He's same as you remember him. He's really fun because you can just keep smashing in. Whenever he's destroyed, he special summons himself back from the graveyard, and he gets 500 attack every time he is special summoned by his own effect. If I use effect on my opponent's turn, I have to skip my next draw. Now, I would say the best monster in the deck, Orichalcos Cutora. I have to pay 500 life points to special summon this thing from my hand, and while it's on the field, all battle damage I take becomes reduced to 0. And when it is destroyed, I get Orichalcos Shuneros. And when Shuneros comes out, these come out. Orichalcos, Dexia, and Aristros. Sorry about the glare over there. I can't really get the lighting right in this room. Shuneros' attack is equal to how much ever damage that this little eyesore here absorbed while it was on the field. And when Shuneros gets summoned, these also get summoned. If you couldn't tell, this is the body, and then these are his arms. They come off and become different monsters. Dexia is always 300 more attack than the monster it is battling. And Aristros is always 300 more defense than the monster it is battling. Also, Aristros intercepts any of my opponent's attacks, which is pretty darn cool. So when you have Seal of Orichalcos on the field, for this challenge, you can hide Shuneros in your back row, and then just have the ultimate attacker and the ultimate defense up front. And unless they have a card effect to blow this up, they're not going to get past you just by battling. And if Shuneros leaves the field, the arms are also destroyed. And then when Shuneros leaves the field, then we bring on the Divine Serpent. Divine Serpent, I would say, is the primary win condition, but he's also very risky and very dangerous for both players. He has immeasurable attack, infinite and infinite defense for the stats. But, however, when he is successfully summoned, I have to discard my entire hand, and my life points become 0. Now, that's pretty weird, I know, but as long as this card remains on the field, I stay in the game. It's kind of like Relay Soul. And then, if I want to be able to attack with him, I have to send the top 10 cards of my deck to the graveyard. So if I get him out late game, I'm probably not going to be able to do anything with him, and he'll just be a big sitting duck. Because you can just blow him up and I instantly lose the game. One Rescue Rabbit, it's a Tour Guide deck. And there's nothing special about this Rescue Rabbit. I just had this alternate art proxy made for the purpose of this challenge deck, because you see he's got the little seal on his head. He's an evil Rescue Rabbit. Or what am I saying? Orichalcos isn't evil. The people I'm fighting are evil. And what we use with this Rescue Rabbit are 3 Orichalcos soldiers, just your standard 4-star, 2000 attack normal monster. And then the last monster, in the main deck anyway, are double Mirror Knight Calling. This card is pretty powerful, but I hardly ever get it out because, sorry, as I said, this is impromptu, so I am going to brain fart here and then. I rarely ever get this thing out. despite running 2 of them. It is a ritual monster, and it's a dark, so it's allurable, I guess. But what this does is, when it's ritual summoned, I special summon these 4 tokens, the Mirror Knights, and they each come in with 1 shield counter. Now, when a Mirror Knight token battles with a monster, its attack becomes equal to the monster it is battling, if it has a shield counter. Also, when a Mirror Knight token would be destroyed by battle or effect, I remove one of the shields instead. So it's like you have to Mirror Force these twice to get rid of them, which is pretty interesting. Also, instead of getting I'll give you a tip. Instead of trying to get rid of the tokens individually, you want to get rid of this first. Because this, as long as this is on the field, once a turn, I can replace my shield counters on Mirror Knight tokens. So that can be pretty painful, to say the least. Just as I say, get this guy off, and then these guys can't get their shields back. And then we've got best card in the deck, hands down, the Sacred Almighty Seal of Orichalcos, the whole point of this challenge and this deck. Now, I know this is a real card. I know the Seal of Orichalcos has a legal version. The problem is that it's terrible. So what I had to go ahead and do, I actually have been doing this challenge before that card was ever made. So what this for the purpose of this challenge, it runs off of the proxy that Upper Deck Entertainment made when they were doing their Duel the Master side events in 2004. The effect, it's pretty long. If you want to know what everything this card does, you can just look that up, what I just told you, like Seal, UDE, Seal of Orichalcos. It's a pretty fun card. And I cannot steal a person's soul. And also, I'll say, this catches souls, which is pretty interesting. That's the whole premise and the aesthetics of the challenge, is that you defend your soul. So yeah, I'm gonna keep... So, most of the people who watch this already know what the anime effect of the seal does. So, I'm just going to assume you're not... you can look up what this does on your own. If not, you can just ask me. I reply to all my comments, well, all the comments that aren't stupid. But here we go. We have next we have Orichalcos Deuteros, which in order to activate this, I have to have the seal on the field. Then I send it to the graveyard to activate this in its place. And if you notice, it's basically another layer to the seal because it adds another ring, as you can tell by the artwork. And I cannot activate more than one field spell per turn. Like I can't activate seal then go straight to Tritos. Or Deuteros, sorry. Well, Tritos is next, but we'll get to that when we get to that. And what Deuteros does is basically, once a turn, I get 500 life points for each monster I control. That's pretty much all this piece of card does. You just have this here to absorb the effects of the first seal. And you just have it here so that you can activate Tritos, which you can only activate by having the second layer active. And Tritos is a very... it is very overpowered, I will say. But it does take me a while to get to this. Keep in mind, I have to draw and or search all of these, and I cannot activate them all in the same turn. But it's a challenge. That's why there is some ridiculous stuff in here. But what this basically adds is, when my opponent activates a spell or trap that would affect a monster or monsters on my side of the field, I can negate that card and destroy it. Pretty bull, but it is part of the core Orichalcos deck, so I do run it. It also helps protect Divine Serpent and my Mirror Knights. For searching these cards, you have 2 Chosen Destiny. This card is really cool. I like the concept. Not big on this artwork. I prefer the original artwork, but you get what you pay for. What this does is I can pay I have to pay 1,000 life points to activate this. Then I choose either one of 2 effects. I can either add 1 Orichalcos card from my deck to my hand, or I can select and destroy any Orichalcos card on the field, ignoring any effects that would prevent it from being destroyed. So that is pretty darn cool, and it's like, as people, we have the power to choose our own destiny. I can also use this to nuke the seal, if I'm about to lose, so that I don't have to give up a soul for the challenge. And then we have Orichalcos Eye here, more searching. I really like the artwork on this, because it's like the eye, but for the iris and the pupil and all that, it's the seal, which is really cool. It's a continuous spell, and it's basically a continuous chosen destiny without the destruction. It's once a turn, I can pay 1,000 to grab an Orichalcos card out of my deck or my graveyard, which is pretty cool. Then we have, this card's pretty overpowered, but it's also really bad in certain situations. This is Card of Demise. This is actually a card that Kaiba used, but I'm running all kinds of anime stuff in here just to, keeps the aesthetics of the challenge. But what Card of Demise does is I draw until I have 5 cards in my hand. Then, on my 5th standby phase, after I played this card, I have to send my entire hand to the graveyard. So this can be really good, but it can also be really bad depending on what I have in my, after the 5 turns. So I usually want to, but a really bull crap opening move, I will say, is to just set my whole hand, then play this, and then I get 5 fresh cards. It is pretty bull, I understand. But it is necessary just because the consistency of this deck overall is just not there, so I did need some kind of draw support. And I didn't want to use ban stuff like I did last time, because with the anime stuff and the ban stuff, it was just kind of overpowered. This way, I have made some adjustments, added some new cards that kind of replace the role that the ban cards had without being as ridiculous. Then for spells, just main staples, we've got Dark Hole and 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. I would run 3, but I just can't find the room. Then we have 1 Orichalcos Mirror. This is the ritual spell card required to summon the... I couldn't find it. Mirror Knight Calling. And Orichalcos Mirror has a weird condition that it doesn't ritual summon Mirror Knight Calling from the hand, it ritual summons it from the deck, and only from the deck. So that's why I run 2. I used to only run 1 Mirror Knight Calling, but when it was in my hand, this card just became completely dead. So that's why I run 2 Mirror Knight Callings. It's still kind of hard to get out, just because I have to have both the ritual and monsters that I want to dispose of. For traps, we got obvious stuff, 1 Torrential and 1 Warning. Torrential plus Qtora is pretty fun, because I get Shinra's. More consistency, we've got triple Reckless Greed. This combos well with Gygus, since his effect makes me skip my draw, and the rulings state that skip draw phases that activate all in the same turn do not stack, which is pretty fun. 2 Call of the Haunted. This was a last-minute technical choice on my part. I think this would be pretty good because I do run an extra deck with this, so if I can summon Gygus and then call back a soldier and then make a level 4 or rank 4 monster. And then last 2 trap cards, this is a new card, and this is Orichalcos Thisia. I got these made courtesy of Super Latios 11. Thanks a lot. This card is freaking beautiful, and it is also really darn good. I needed a card that would compete with the meta a bit more, because now there's so many monsters that just cannot be destroyed by card effects. Basically what I did is I took... This is basically an Icarus attack for Orichalcos. I tribute 1 Orichalcos monster, and I select up to 2 cards on my point side of the field, and it sends them to the graveyard. Not destroy, send. Because BL's is kind of ridiculous, and so is Midrash. So that's Orichalcos Thisia, and that is the entirety of the main deck. Now, going into the extra deck, we've got... I'll go through all the real stuff first, but they're Oricas of real cards. Since this is an all Orica deck, I thought I might as well just have some fun and use Orica staples. We got Zen Mines, Leviair, Leviathan Dragon, Exciton Knight, which is freaking beautiful. This was made by the same person who made the Orichalcos Thisia card, and this card is... I can't get over how beautiful this looks. That's like the coolest looking Exciton Knight Orica. Diamond Dire. an Honor Arc 101, Black Ship, and a number 39 Utopia. Now, I do run some custom stuff in the extra deck, too. Meet Orichalcos Sealed Utopia. I've kind of made a new concept where I can, instead of sealing souls with the seal in my challenge, I can also seal Duel Monster Spirits. And if I seal your Duel Monster Spirit, I get to make a card for the Orichalcos out of it. So this is Orichalcos Sealed Utopia. I have to special summon it by discarding an Orichalcos card from my hand and banishing Utopia from my extra deck to summon this. Then once a turn, I can send one card from my hand to the graveyard to draw a card. Also, if this card attacks or is attacked, my opponent can discard a spell card to instantly destroy this card. Then I run double Orichalcos Dragon. This card, I will say, is kind of ridiculous, but it's really like the only big boss monster that I can get out easily. I wouldn't class Utopia as a boss monster just because his effect is just average. The Sealed Utopia as a boss monster because he's just average. And plus, Shuneros and Divine Serpent, you need a lot of build-up to get them out and make sure they live. But Orichalcos Dragon, it requires 2 level 4 Orichalcos monsters, and it has 3,000 attack. I agree that is pretty overpowered. This is like the only ridiculous boss monster that I can get out really easily. And his effect merely states, once a turn, I can detach a material to add any Orichalcos card to my hand from my deck or graveyard. Now, that is not the entirety of the extra deck. I do have these 4 cards. These are like my trump card, avatar cards, kind of. And I'm not going to reveal them. If you want to see what they are, you have to be lucky enough for me to have to play these against you in a challenge. But I will just say they are really darn good. And if you've seen some of my videos, you probably know what they already are. And, yeah, these are my 4 special trump cards that I only use in dire situations. And maybe I can just go... Nope, sorry guys. They're going to remain a mystery for all the newcomers. But that is the main deck and extra deck. Lastly, we have is the side deck, which contains 1 Gygus, 1 Great Leviathan. I'm not going to explain everything in the side deck just to save time. If you want to know what they do, just ask me. And, yeah, I've included a side deck because, I run this challenge. I used to run this challenge as singles only, but I also included rules for a best of 3 match type of challenge if you want to do that. It also depends on my time constraints and yours. 1 Orichalcos Quadros, 1 Orichalcos Pentos. These are fan-made 4th and 5th layers of the seal. My other Orichalcos Eye, double Nibelung's Treasure. This card is pretty darn ridiculous, if you know what this does. And I only side this now because I think it's ridiculous to go into Game 1 open with this. Because this card is pretty broke on the level of broke. I used to main deck this, but I figured I should just side it, just in case I absolutely need it. Because with the way the side deck works is that I side to make the challenge progressively more difficult. My last MST, Illusion Gate, Time Goddess, Impure Orichalco, or no, that's not Impure, but Pure Orichalcos. My last Call of the Haunted, a Compulse, Prophecy, and Crossheart. So yes, this is the new and updated Orichalcos challenge. I will have rules posted in the descriptions, but there's a few core rules I guess I can explain right now. No Burnstall, absolutely not Burnstall, or Exodia, because let's face it, who likes playing those decks, and who likes playing against those decks? And Advanced Format only. And for the time being, I am going to bar custom cards, my opponent using custom cards from the challenge. Only because it's nothing against you. This is just from experience, but a lot of people make really really ridiculous cards. Like, I once had an Orichalcos challenge from this guy. I'm not going to mention any names, but I had this Orichalcos challenge from this dude. That's like, he made a field spell that's like indestructible, and it gives all of his monsters 3,000 extra attack. That's just stupid. So yeah, no custom cards, and obviously advanced format only. And the rest of the rules will be in the description. I kind of made this as like a fun thing, just a fun casual game to take a break kind of from the stupidity of how stupid the meta can get sometime. So I kind of invented this challenge as kind of a fun thing to do on the side. And I like it. I really enjoy it. A lot of people I've played enjoyed it. And if you make an Orichalcos deck of your own, keep gathering those souls, make the Great Leviathan as happy as you can, and Orichalcos 96, Mewtwo Overkill, out. I got some souls, and I may have yours soon. See you all later. Hope you enjoyed this. Goodbye.